Good morning, or depending on when you're watching this, good afternoon, good evening, or good night. My name's Ross, and as always, told how to voice the radio. So today we got a bunch of new cards we need to be looking at from, well, over in Japan, it is Ancient Roar and Future Flash, which we know is going to be brought over as Paradox Rift over here. That double set over in Japan is going to form the majority of our Paradox Rift set. And frankly, we've got a bunch of cards we need to be talking about today. We've got supporter cards, we've got TMs, we've got legendary Pokemon. So let's start there. Let's have a little bit of a look at the Treasures of Ruin. Of course, we got EX versions of the Treasures of Ruin in Paldea Evolved. In Paradox Rift, they're coming in as single prize Pokemon. Are they any good? I mean, I'll be honest with you, right? They're not as good as they were back in Paldea Evolved, but that doesn't mean they ain't good. Translations here from myself, but I did check with the lovely Antoine Billet to make sure I'm not doing a silly. Now, my favourite of them in terms of artwork and effect is Ting-Lu. Now, we got lovely Akira Igawa artwork here, which is absolutely stunning. We got 140 HP on a basic, which is big, and we've got, well, the first attack is actually the same on all the Pokemon. All these four, at least. For 1 fighting energy, you attach up to 2 fighting energy from your discard pile to one of your Pokemon. And it does say one of your Pokemon, so it could be to your bench, or it could be to your active Ting-Lu, either is good. But it is 2 energy to one of your Pokemon, so you don't get to spread the energy out, they both have to go in the same way. Okay, cool. And like I say, it's the same on all of them. So over on Chi-Yu, it's 2 fire energy from your discard to one of your Pokemon. For Wo-Chien, it's 2 grass energy from your discard pile to one of your Pokemon. And for Chien-Pao, it's 2 water energy from your discard pile to one of your Pokemon. Decent attack. I mean, you put 1 on Ting-Lu, or the others, and then you get to accelerate 2 energy, which is nice. It's fine. Alright? But it's not exactly the best ever. It's fine. It's a nice little bonus. It's not necessarily a reason to play the card. Although, I say that, there's still absolutely a possibility here that this gets the energy you need in the early game to get you rolling. The main thing we care about with Ting-Lu here is free energy, 220. If this Pokemon has 4 or more damage counters on it, this attack does nothing. Look, I understand people are going to look at this and go, well, hang on a second. First of all, it's free energy, that's a lot. Second of all, we also have this, if you got 4 damage counters on, you can't actually do anything. This is a lot, okay? And yeah, you're right. But I think the thing you shouldn't be sleeping on here, 220 on a basic single prize Pokemon is ridiculous. That is what you need to KO Pokemon V. It's really good. So yeah, there's a big downside here. In terms of energy acceleration, remember I showed you Sandy Shocks yesterday that can attach an energy from a discard pile to itself? So here you can just, energy switch or something it over. That'll work quite nicely. Don't forget, we've got Gutsy Pickaxe that will work. And look, I'm not pretending that either of these are perfect. They're not. But I absolutely am pretending that this could work out and be kind of good. This could end up being a decent kind of card. So yeah, it's alright. I'm going to go ahead and give it 4 Wassies. I know it's expensive and the energy acceleration isn't stunning here. But I do think it's also worth pointing out that, you know what? You're still doing 220 on a single prize basic Pokemon. That alone is kind of ridiculous. Now, Chien-Pao is the one that everybody loved in Paldea Evolved. What is his single prize looking like? Well, we got 120 HP, the same first attack, and for free energy, 130, discard 2. It's not a particularly stunning attack, and I'm not going to pretend it is. However, Chien-Pao is generally played with Baxcalibur that can accelerate as much water energy from your hand as you like. So actually, this one is going to be very, very useful in terms of it's a single prizer, it's a basic Pokemon, it can do 130. Like, in a deck like Baxcalibur, where you're already accelerating a bunch of energy, like, this is the same attack we see on Baxcalibur, but it's on a single prize Pokemon, and then you're not putting your energy accelerating Pokemon in harm's way. And it can do a bit of energy acceleration in the early game to get you rolling if you need to. So you know what? It's fine. It's alright. I'm giving this one between 3 and 4 Wossies. We don't give half Wossies. That would be barbaric. Stunning? No. Decent single prize attacker in Baxcalibur decks? Yes. Yes, it is. Now, Chi-Yu comes along, and this one's going to look very familiar from lots of cards in the past. 110 HP is kind of terrible, I'll be honest with you, at least compared to the others. Same first attack we don't need to talk about. And then for 2 fire energy, 50 damage. But if any of your Pokemon were knocked out by damage from an opponent's attack during your opponent's last turn, this attack does 90 more damage. It's a Revenger. The thing is, we've still got things like Magma Basin in the format. So Magma Basin can accelerate an energy, then you attach from your hand, and all of a sudden that's the energy you need. So if your opponent took a KO last turn, you can literally just bench Chi-Yu, attach, use your stadium, 140. And 140 isn't stunning, but it's going to get a lot of stuff you're hitting for weakness right up into and including V-Stars. It's going to get most single prize Pokemon, and no, it's not huge, but numbers-wise it's decent. Pretty much anything you're hitting for weakness, pretty much any single prize Pokemon, and it can be pretty easily gotten together in a single turn as a basic single prize Pokemon. And yeah, you know what? I'm giving this one 4 Wossies as well. I actually do think some of these could be very, very good. And I just think you should be looking out for this, ladies and gentlemen. I think this one could be pretty gosh darned awesome. And then we finish off with Wo-Chien. Wo-Chien is the, well, I'll be honest with you, it's not necessarily people's favourite. It's a bit of a meme more than a favourite. Although I will say, I opened 5 packs of Snow Hazard on a train from Hakata to Hiroshima, and I pulled Wo-Chien and Full Art Wo-Chien EX. Come on, ladies and gentlemen. That's a pretty nice live Wo-Chien reaction. So we got 130 HP, same first attack for accelerating energy, which could be useful in the early game. And please don't sleep on this first attack could be useful in the early game. And then 4 energy, 140. During your opponent's next turn, the defending Pokemon's attacks cost 2 colorless energy more to use. And on the one hand, I want to look at this and go, hang on a second, increasing their attack cost by 2, that's ridiculous. On the other hand, it's very expensive, and yes, I know you can use Ferrothorn here, but you're giving up prizes, and I still think it might be a bit too expensive. And also, all your opponent has to do is switch out of the active, and all of a sudden, they've gotten around that. In the late game, when your opponent's out of switching options and you can Iona them down to a small hand, I really like this attack. But that's the parameters I'm looking at here. You have got to get your opponent in a situation where you are pretty sure they are very low on options. Then you can use this. But I don't think you can until then. Let's give it 3 Wossies. It's fine. And I do think there will be games that can be won with this. But it's only going to work occasionally, and it's a 4 energy attack, and that puts me off. Now, I promised you new supporters, we've got them, we've got Mela. And I like this, and this actually has a great combo with Chi-Yu here. What we've got is, you can only play this card if one of your Pokemon was knocked out during your opponent's last turn, but it is just knocked out. So whereas Chi-Yu specifically says, if one of your Pokemon was knocked out by damage from an attack, this is any KO from an ability or whatever. You attach a basic fire from your discard pile to one of your Pokemon, and then you draw until you've got 6 cards in your hand. This is really good. I expect it to see play. Draw until you got 6 is pretty nice, but you're also accelerating an energy. It's kind of like Melanie, but you've got to be super careful because you can only use it after a KO, but you're drawing until you got 6, which a lot of the time is going to be a little bit better. Now, obviously, there's a pretty nice combo here with Chi-Yu. After a KO, use this to accelerate energy, and then do extra damage because one of your Pokemon was KO'd. Yay! Etc. That's pretty gosh darn good. But we've also got here things like Charizard. One of the annoying things about Charizard is that it's not a fire Pokemon, it's a darkness Pokemon. So, like, you can use this with something like Magma Basin, but you've got to do it before you evolve up. As soon as you evolve up into your Charizard, you can't use it anymore, and that's actually super duper annoying. So yeah, what you really want to do here is just accelerate an energy normally, and you can do that very, very nicely. Use Mela, get your energy, draw here, and obviously, like, Charizard's a 2-energy attacker, right? So use Mela here, attach for turn, you're off and rolling. I do think this has potential. I don't think it's going to be like a full-on staple in Charizard, but very, very useful and useful in other decks. I'm giving this one a nice solid between 3 and 4 Wossies. We don't give half Wossies. That would be barbaric. Now, the other supporter we've got here is Tulip, and this one I don't like quite so much. You put up to 4 in any combination of Psychic Pokemon and basic Psychic Energy cards from your discard pile into your hand. It's fine. It's not stunning. It's very literally Nessa for Psychic Pokemon. It is exactly the same as Nessa, but you're going Psychic here rather than Water. And Nessa never saw a huge amount of play, and that worries me a little bit. But I do need to remind you all about that Xatu that I showed you the other day. Because that Xatu the other day, it's got that brilliant ability where you can attach a Psychic Energy from your hand to one of your Pokemon and then draw 2 cards. Yeah. That's actually really good. So this can potentially get you your Xatu and then get the energy to attach to then draw a bunch of cards. So although I'm not a huge fan of this generally, I think specifically if you're using that Xatu, remember it's coming in the Mewtwo deck, although it's still probably going to be in Paradox Rift for us, to be fair. But specifically with that, I actually really like it. Outside of that, I don't like it very much at all. Sorry, ladies and gentlemen. Oh, just to confirm, you have to attach to one of your bench Pokemon, but unlike, say, Shadow Rider Calyrex VMAX, it does not have to be attached to a Psychic Pokemon. So any Pokemon on the bench, it's actually, as far as I'm concerned, is actually better than Shadow Rider Calyrex VMAX. And it's on a single prize Pokemon. I think it is stunning. Let's give this 3 Wossies. Although, to be fair, it's probably a bit better than that if you're playing Xatu. But I've said what I've said. Let's finish off having a look at a couple of TMs. I told you this was a big update. So, depends whether you want to evolve or devolve. So we've got TM Evolution. Remember, these are new tools that you attach to your Pokemon. They give you an extra attack, but they fall off at the end of your turn. Single Energy. Choose 2 of your bench Pokemon. For each of them, you search your deck for a card that evolves from that Pokemon and put it on to evolve it. I really like this. If you are playing an evolution-focused deck, it's a single energy attack that evolves 2 of your Pokemon from the deck. I really like this for helping you set up in evolution decks. I worry that you're basically playing 4 of these and hoping to draw into it, and you might not draw into it. If you don't draw into it, it sucks, etc. I get it. But I'm giving this between 3 and 4 Wossies because there are going to be games where this gets you set up, and that's going to be awesome. But if you don't want to evolve, you want to devolve instead, how about TM Devolution? Single colorless energy again. Remove 1 evolution card from each of your opponent's evolved Pokemon and put those cards into your opponent's hand. And if you're playing a spread deck, for instance, I adore this. Because you spread a bunch of damage around, get your opponent's Pokemon into a situation where they're going to be, well, KO'd if you devolve them, and then you devolve them. I actually really like this one as well. And it's for very specific decks, let's be clear. But if you're playing a spread deck, spread a bunch of damage around, and then this tool gives you a single energy attack that can devolve them all and just wreck their entire board. Yeah. Love that, ladies and gentlemen. Absolutely love it. Let's give this one again between 3 and 4 Wossies. We don't give half Wossies. That would be barbaric. So there we go, ladies and gentlemen. Lots of new cards to have a look at, and some of these I think are very good, but I've explained it, and now it's all over to you guys. Tell me what you think about these cards. Tell me which are your favourite. Tell me which you're going to play. Tell me anything you want to tell me in the comment section. Go nuts! Be nice. And then make sure you like this video, subscribe to this channel, follow me on Twitter at the Wasi. That's where we talk about Pokemon and a bunch of other card games. And please do consider checking out patreon.com/PTCGradio, where you can support the channel, get some bonus podcasts, join a Discord, and all kinds of fun things. And get shoutouts on the channel, like the lovely Ashley Munns, who is one of our newer Patreons and is a very lovely person. So shout out to them for the support and the loveliness. But by far the most important thing as always, look after yourselves till next time, would ya? Thank you very much for watching. My name's Ross, and you've been watching PTCG Radio.